everything. So they just gave us their guys and to worship them, you know what I'm saying? So we got to go back to our ancestors, and we are just the living manifestation of our ancestors, period. I don't believe in worshiping the dead. We are our ancestors, living flesh, walking flesh of our ancestors, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Powerful statement. The psyop slave mentality. Talk to me about that. What exactly is the slave mentality in your own words?
Well, let's look at the word slave,
Mm-hmm.
right? Comes from the word Slav.
Yeah.
It means Slavonic people from Slavonia. Doesn't mean people of color from America. It means Slavs. It comes from them. It comes from the history of their enslavement. They're being put in chains, taken to Africa, taken to Europe, taken to Asia, you know what I'm saying? And America, you know what I'm saying? So they came here. The real true history of slavery is pale Americans in chains and being set free, and not people of color being set free. We were never owned by pale people here in America. And I'm from Mississippi. I do very good research on the state of Mississippi. The pale people weren't in Mississippi in any numbers. They couldn't own land in Mississippi until after Reconstruction. You see what I'm saying? So you can't own people in the South, for instance, unless you own land. You feel me? Right. You know how to grow and all these other things. So you wouldn't have to have Jim Crow if you already own the people. You know what I'm saying? So just the whole miseducation system is the problem. Wow. And it's attached to the degeneracy, miseducation, the Rainbow Coalition, and all other things that are degenerate to our community.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's the I think that's the main problem. You know what I'm saying? When we're dealing with this system. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think if I got the question,
no,
I don't know if
for
I
sure.
got the question.
You did, Chief. So who would you say actually oppressed and enslaved our people in the Deep South in states like Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, Alabama, all these states in the Deep South?
Well, how they trick us, right? Because now, because of there's a lawsuit, that come from this community, we sued the federal government, we sued the education department in 2022, right? Wow. And basically, by 2023, 2024, you start seeing them say we were enslaved. Enslavement votes, enslaved. They put the E-N in front of it, even though we're still psychologically attached, crazily psychologically attached to slave. Like, we're the only slaves, raise our hand, we're the only slaves. Slaves is a noun. It means Slavs, them. Doesn't mean you, it means them. But we raise our hand every time because we've been psychologically directed to this designation. So even other people that come here, they still they see us the same way. Even people from the continent of Africa that were supposed to be slaves, you know what I'm saying, they still see us as these things, socially, you know what I mean? So I think once we stop seeing ourselves as slaves, and that's my mission. If that was one thing I want to leave, this planet before I get up out of here, is free our people.
Right. Psychological
freedom, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's working. I really do. I thought that was gonna be one of the hardest things, hey, we from here, okay, that's cool. I think we all know that now. I don't think that's an argument. Wow. But telling people they're not black, because black is attached to inferiority, it's attached to slavery, it's attached to Africa. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? It's attached to pain. And so when they say, hey, they want to take that out of the schools because it's not true, people are saying, no, they want to take our history out of there. They want to take our history out of school. And I ask, well, do you need them to teach your children about themselves? You know what I'm saying? Exactly. No other people do that, man. We the only people that do that. But they have people, leaders, that are placed, you can say boule, gatekeepers, whatever. These people work for these people, man. Period. They're funded to to keep us in this situation, man. So when we talk about COINTELPRO, it's a serious thing. And if we have a group of people, you asked the question earlier, would I work with any Pan-Africans? I do all the time, man, but not the ones that work for the CIA, not the ones that are funded. You know what I mean? And I call these guys out sometimes, man. I don't like to do it, man, but if they're pushing the agenda of the CIA and they've been doing it for a long time, I think that needs to be addressed. And I think if we call ourselves the media, we call ourselves people of for our people, then we should be addressing that elephant in the room. Why are we following guys who are clearly COINTELPRO, clearly working for the CIA, clearly funded? And it's not hard to find who works for Open Society, which is the parent company of Black Lives Matter, for instance. See what I'm saying? So it's not a
George Soros,
right? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's where that comes from. So when you see a person that's funded by these people, it's controlled by these people, you know what I mean? And you see the Shannon Sharps, you see these people, they always going to be controlled. You're never going to see them. You're never going to see me on Fox. You're never going to see The Truth. You're never going to see Big Aboriginal Power. You're never going to see the Conscious one. You're never going to see certain people on these platforms because they want to keep the information a certain way. So even when I see guys pushing the same old Jesse Jackson, DEI, I mean, Al Sharpton is still running around here, bro.
Meeting with Target.
Crazy to me, man.
And I was like, who said he is the overall representative of Black people? That's the part that was throwing me off.
Who is, though?
Who called him? Exactly.
That's a good question, because we don't want to be. Nobody wants to step up and say, hi, I'm a leader of anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hi, I'm a leader of anything. Except for these fools that get on there and snitching on themselves.
And Chief, I'll be honest, other groups, they don't have a spokesperson. I think that's way more powerful. Like,
you say they don't?
They don't. Like, not like a main person who's their main speaker who you always see. Like the Asian community, you don't see Al Sharpton for the Asian community. The Jewish community, they don't have an Al Sharpton. If you cross them, they're going to have a meeting with you behind closed doors.
Right.
Talk to your CEO. They're not up front protesting. Like, you don't see when Asians during 2020, we didn't see them marching the streets to stop quote unquote Asian hate. They actually got a bill passed, which was way more powerful. With us, we'll walk down the street, we'll protest, we'll cry, we'll go to church, all these things, but we aren't doing it actually. So yeah.
And they don't even vote.
And they don't vote. Thank you for saying that. Exactly.
They don't even vote.
Which is even deeper.
And they need our votes, but they take our votes, but and our influence, but we don't get anything back from them. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like the 3/5 compromise. You know what I'm saying? Which by the way, I got to talk about that.
Please.
Once again, these race hustlers that's been hustling our people, they'll say, hey, that's a 3/5 human clause. I'm like, no, it's 3/5 it's for voting. It has nothing to do with being 3/5 of a human. That's a system that somebody wanted to tell you that you were only 3/5 of a human, and that's why your vote was only counting 3/5. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's because we have always been the majority here in America, because we've always been here. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So they had to have a compromise that only 3 of the 5 of your family members, we come from big families. Mm-hmm. So big family, so 3 out of the 5, so 6 out of the 10 votes count, but they tax 10 out of the 10 people. Right. That's what it was about. It had nothing to do with being 3/5 of a human being when you are the dominant race of people on the planet. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
We come from the greatest human beings that this planet's ever seen, because we invented everything. See what I'm saying? Yes. Math, science, health, everything, food, culture. You know what I'm saying? And now you got everybody trying to take our culture from us. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think even being Americans, these Europeans have came in as if they're not Scottish and German.
They call themselves American.
Yeah, no, they're just American.
Not European American.
Not European American.
Wow.
Yeah, so, and they created the term African American to take us off the land.
Disassociate yourself from
the
land.
It's definitely 3-card Molly on this. You know what I'm saying? So, I just think it's just very diabolical, man, when we talk about the people who are put as leaders. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're funded, they're, to herd the people in a certain direction. That's why you said that they're only speaking, they're only talking. They're not doing anything.
How about that? How crazy is that?
See what I'm saying? The other people are not talking, they're doing. You got people, and like I said, I tell people all the time, you have to balance it out, as far as us speaking and doing things or whatever, but get out in the community and get the building. You know what I'm saying? That's what we talk about as Only Builders, my organization. We're building something, from building houses, apartments. It's time to get your hands dirty, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's a big part of it. Stop talking as much and let's get some work done. You know what I mean? But they definitely got us shook from being leaders, or at least standing up, you know what I mean? So I tell people, don't follow me, follow the directions. Follow the movement, where the people are going. You know what I'm saying? And so I think the people are going in the right direction, man.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Chief, you set a bar. It's time to get your hands dirty. Break that down because, man, during this time, I feel like our people are truly at a crossroads. Either we're going to keep choosing ignorance and siding with our oppressor, or to your point, find out who we really are and actually create change. What does "it's time to get your hands dirty" actually mean to you?
I mean, not just physically,
Right.
you know. Okay, perfect example, you know, putting in the lawsuits. Shout out to Sister Bethy and the YA Nation, you know what I mean? It's actually physically doing something, not just talking about it. Hey, we could talk about the problems all day. Oh, this is happening, this happened to us. No, what about doing something about it?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think that's a lot of people are waiting for somebody else to do it as opposed to you doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also I hate, you know, us, you know, like building people up to watch us get towed down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things, you know, like even watching Shannon Sharp going through what he's going through, and the Diddler going through what he's going through.
The Diddler, yeah.
Yeah, the Diddler. No Diddy. I just think that, yeah, man, I still would, you know, try not to, and I wouldn't get in their media, you know what I'm saying? You know, if I was even their media and they was asking me about it, I would no comment, you know what I mean? Like, but, you know, it seems like a conspiracy though, you know what I mean? It seems kind of crazy.
Very strange.
And I have read a book and it was talking, I forgot the name of the author, but it was talking about the character assassination of the black male image. And they had Minister Farrakhan on there. I want to say shout out to one of the GOATs,
yes,
Minister
sir.
Farrakhan, you know what I'm saying? The Honorable Minister Farrakhan.
Yes, sir.
As when we talk about a leader, I don't think that he's never stopped being a leader for our people, right? Okay. So, yeah, I mean, just one of them things, man. I think, you know, we just got to keep fighting as a people, man, and start working together. Yeah. Because they work together. Even if they don't like each other, they still like them better than they like us.
Yes.
And we like everybody else better than we like ourselves. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't know how to counsel the Vlads, the Adam 22s, you know. We don't know how to counsel them, but we know how to counsel each other. Mm-hmm. So going back to tearing each other down, I think that's another thing. I don't think that, you know, we see that, and, you know, people that fight for the people say, man, they don't, the real freedom fighters, you know what I'm saying, don't see any benefit coming from it. You know what I'm saying? And people are afraid of death.
Yeah.
That's what they say?
Yeah.
A coward dies 1,000 times. A God never dies. You know what I'm saying? So, wow. Yeah.
Being fearless, right, when it comes to death, and I'm not saying even that extreme, but, you know, when we study our people on this land, everybody always said that they were extremely fearless in warfare, in life. How can we start to, I would say, regenerate that spirit of fearlessness during these times right now?
I mean, bro, I think it's in us, man. I just think that the energies have been redirected. You know what I mean? Yeah. They call them YNs, young niggas. I have a young nigga spirit, like still, you know what I mean?
Young warriors.
It's a warrior, you know what I'm saying? So I still have that spirit. So just having, you know, just directing, you know what I'm saying, that energy in the right direction, you know what I'm saying? Because we all been young, and we've been, but man, could you imagine being young now with what they have and what they got to deal with, man? So yeah, you know, I don't. So just being able to take them, man, and you know, I see a lot of people just throwing them away. That's a problem to me. I think we got to embrace the young, man, and just guide them the right way. Shout out to my DJ Cut Tack, man, my partner, podcast partner, man. He talks about they're the tips of the arrow, but we the guide of the arrow, you know, they the tip of it, you know what I'm saying? So just being able to guide them, man, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's what we got to do, man. Just love on them, man. I think we need to learn how to love each other. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Clean up, love each other. That's a simple thing, man. It's like seeing a brother at the corner store, Quick Trip, whatever. Say, peace, brother, how you doing? Smile at him.
Acknowledge him.
Yeah. You don't know if it, bro, you know, that right there just changes things. You don't know what that brother's going through. You don't know what you're going through. So, you know what I'm saying? It just, you know, I've been doing that experiment, man, about 10 years now, man. It's interesting, you know, speaking to each, you know, 'cause I was just really standoffish and angry, you know what I mean? Not want to talk to nobody, whatever, but, you know, as far as being able to psychologically change the way we have been programmed, start loving on each other. You know, stop hating on each other, tearing each other down. So I think that's the main thing, man. I think we really got to have genuine love for each other. Yeah, I think we do.
Yeah.
Real talk.
Chief, what drives you to care so much for the younger generation, for your people? What's the source of that?
Man, I say it all the time, man. It ain't me, man. It's the ancestors telling me to do this. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to do it. I'd rather be a nigga.
Wow.
Yeah,
Whole lot easier. Yeah,
it's easy being a nigga, man. Just, you know, like man, it's been a long journey.
Uh-huh.
Like I was out here by myself for a long time. You know what I mean? And you know, I just see the growth of it, man. You know, I feel very proud, very, you know, just when I see, you know, the growth of the community, man. You know what I mean? Even though it's a lot of confusion, a lot of stuff going on, I think that's a part of growth. You know,
That's right.
Pain and growth. You know what I mean? But other than that, man, I think, hey man, it's the ancestors, man. Like I've always been a militant. I've always been revolutionary, and I tell people, being patriotic is the most revolutionary thing that you could do right now. You know what I mean? That flag gets you through a lot of doors that you didn't think that, you know, just wearing the flag, bro. So get y'all American flag, wave it high. It's gonna change your life, man. Just be the best Americans is the most revolutionary thing, man. We've been tricked out our spot. Yeah. When they be talking American, you know what I'm saying? Remember Chief Z? Watching the Redskins?
Oh,
they call them the Commanders now, right?
Yeah.
He used to fly the flag.
The Redskins,
Rest
man.
in
The Redskins
paradise
logo.
Chief Z, man.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's them erasing history, because now when you look up Washington Redskins, you're not going to see the Redskins. You're going to see Commanders
With a W. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
W
you're going to see the
logo,
Commanders.
Yep.
Just a W. We don't care about it. We don't just put a W. We don't care, right? We're going to erase their history, but it doesn't exist even in the 80s when they were winning their championships. See what I'm saying? Cleveland, not the
Cleveland Indians, I remember.
Well, now it's not the Indians no more.
Yep, Guardians now.
Guardians. So when you look it up, you're not going to see Indians, even when they were called Indians. You're going to see Guardians. That's how they erase our history. So they're continually erasing our history this way, you know, by just writing us out of history. So people say they're beating us with the pen. Yes, they're literally beating us with the pen.
Wow. Genocide through the pen. Paper genocide.
It's the most powerful weapon I've seen so far.
Wow. Chief, talk to me about this, right? You wearing a shirt, USA, with the flag on it.
USA.
Come on.
USA.
Chief, some people, man, Pan-Africanists or just people who feel like revolutionary, they'll say, America, this isn't our land, brother. We were stolen. We were dropped off over here. And even if it is our land, it's the white man's land. What would you have to say towards people who don't like to see black people having our American flags in the bios or at home waving the flags, the shirts? How do you feel about that?
I mean, once again, it's levels to this revolution. It's levels to this indoctrination. It's levels to this psychological warfare that's being waged against us. We are Americans. You ask any of them people, say, well, what's your nationality? What do you know, I'm American. You know what I'm saying? I've been fortunate to live in other countries. You know what I'm saying? So when we're watching the Olympics, I'm repping USA. We only rep USA. We don't rep any other country. You know, we might like Jamaica if Jamaica's running against somebody else, but it's against USA. It's about America, right? So I just, you know, that's the fight. You know what I'm saying? Going back to foundational Black Americans, AP like to say that's like the waiting room to get into this Aboriginal information. Like, you know, hey, you coming into this information, and so a lot of brothers and sisters have transitioned. You know, because even the brother Tariq went on No Jumper. I don't know why I want to plug that, but he went on No Jumper. It was a major platform, right? And he was like, black was a misnomer. We were Aboriginal to this land, which only means the first. So when people be like mad about that, I'm like, yo, hey, it just means we're the first Americans. So when they question who are the first Americans, we are the first Americans, Aborigines, which gives us power. So we're talking words. They have been casting word spells on us to take us away from our power, which is being Aborigines to this land. And if you want to take it even a step further, we are the autochthonous people of this land. We are the Tanchans. We are the only autochthonous people on the planet. We are the civilization givers to the world, Craig. And I don't think people understand that. Like, we invented everything, ancient stuff as well as the stuff that people are using now, from toilets to airplanes. It goes on and on and on. Doesn't make any sense, for us to be the slaves, and we are the masters. So they're the slaves, we are the masters. And I can prove it.
Prove it for us, Chief.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, when we get to any of the records, like when there's William Ellison, even they'll tell you in their story, the first slave master was Anthony Johnson. It was a brother, right? So bro, it just goes on and on and on. But definitely can provide you with documentation of us owning them. What's the man's name? AME Church, Richard Allen.
Oh, yeah.
He owned Sarah Bass. She was a slave girl.
Oh, he did?
Absolutely. Sarah Bass was a slave girl. He owned her. She didn't have any rights. She couldn't vote. Remember, they couldn't vote till 1922. We've been voting. Think about it. It doesn't make any sense. And the condition of the child is the condition of the mother's condition. The condition of the child's condition of the mother, right? Mm-hmm. They wasn't born grown men. You see what I'm saying? So they're just all sleight of hands. Like the word family, for instance, means a house of slaves. Family. So when they tell us that, we abolished our family businesses. You taxed our land and you took us off our land. That's what happened when we lost millions of acres in the South. Native Americans didn't lose millions of acres. Mexican people didn't lose millions of acres. Arabs didn't lose millions of acres. Indians for Red Dot didn't lose millions of acres. We lost millions of acres. We are the original people of this land through records, through science. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So far as us owning them, just ask them. I could just name a couple people owning them, right? You're never gonna show them owning us.
Man, Chief, speaking on farmland, right? In the South, I don't think people that's like not from the South really know that Black people, even if you go back, let's say 2 generations, you had Black farmers who owned 40 plus acres of land in deep Mississippi, Georgia, Louisiana, all these states. And then it was stolen from them. Of course, when Black towns were robbed, torn down, there's stories of Black farmers having their land just snatched from them from the Klan. Can you please just break down how much land was stolen from our people here in the South?
I mean, all of it, but
pretty much. Yeah,
pretty
you're
much
right.
all of it. Like it was not something that was reserved for them.
Yeah.
But according to them, it's like 26 million acres.
26 million acres.
26 million acres.
Wow. And we already know it's going to be worse than that. But
by 1926. So we're just talking about along the same time. Like keep in mind, we got the same racial integrity acts going on. We got them changing things, them assassinating in the 20s and 30s and 40s. They're assassinating judges. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. These criminals came over here and were like, it's not Jim Crow, it's terrorism. They don't, nobody wants to use that word. If the Venezuelans that were just flooding into the country 6 months ago, right?
And they called them terrorists.
If they came over here and started doing crimes and doing certain stuff, they were just doing little petty crimes. But if they did more organized things like these people did 110 years ago, whatever, they formed these groups and stuff, organizations based off of these criminals that's coming into this country. They formed prisons based off. We didn't have prisons. We didn't have nursing homes. We didn't have orphanages. That was created for them. Welfare was created for them. This whole thing was created for them because we are the masters of this land. Mm-hmm. We just been tricked out of our spot. So it's more of a psychological fight. I think that's the more of the thing. We have to fight more psychologically, have more intelligence, and we're not intelligent enough. And that's just what it is because we have been programmed by these people. Because anytime I fight, go back and forth with a brother or sister, and they want to argue about word spells, for instance, like Africa. I say, what does Africa mean? They don't know. They don't know where it comes from. It doesn't come from the continent of Africa, right? Yeah. But they want to tell me we are Africans.